Welcome back to another episode of Revenue and Margin brought to you by Rob Malenik. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about artificial intelligence and whether or not it's optional. I think right now in today's marketplace, it's really become foundational to what organizations should be thinking about moving forward. We're not talking about the future potential. It's already shaping a lot of your competitors' operations, how they're competing against you, and growing their organization. The real questions today, though, is really regarding how should you be better utilizing AI as your strategic advantage, or should you just be watching along the sidelines? AI is shifting in how we think about strategy. It's not just becoming about automating tasks, it's redefining value. So examples of this are AI being used to forecast demand on production size. And they're really using it not just to put a forecast together. People are misrepresenting when you say forecast demand. You're actually utilizing it to determine activity flow associated with what's going on in your specific industry and finding ways to track data points across the ecosystem that you work within. And there's very detailed information available on AI, such as shipping lane movement, how many inbound ships are coming in on a consistent basis if you're importing from other countries, maybe associated with like houses being built, data being structured versus like future permits being issued by states. Some of these quick questions are able to achieve on AI, and AI it can track all this for you automatically and bring it into a demand forecast. Very, very different than forecasting what you're going to be doing from a production perspective. You can also personalize your customer experience in real time. So identifying like how you're responding to clients, potentially identifying what that client is looking for and thinking about what that need is for that client. Accelerate product development. So once again, using external data factors to really determine what you should be developing and challenging your own current business models. The old strategic planning of like planning for like consistent 3 to 5% growth. Your competitors aren't planning for 3 to 5% growth. You need to be planning for multi-digit growth and figuring out how to game the system faster and quicker than your competition is. You're going to want to integrate AI into your strategy. It requires more though than just tools. It requires a mind shift for your entire culture. Your leaders within your organization, not just at the top, but your management level, need to start figuring out data literacy, cross-functional collaboration, and ethical AI use. You can't silo it within IT or R&D. It has to live within the overall organization, marketing, operations, finance, HR, everywhere. Ultimately, I think it's a culture shift that you need to take as an organization. AI first gives really kind of giving first movers associated with a real advantage edge right now in the marketplace, not just in cost savings, but in creating new growth. You think of the productive insights that could potentially come across associated with looking at your business differently, and you might be able to respond quicker versus the current tariff stuff going on. You might be able to respond faster to dynamic prices and shifts in pricing. You might be able to make intelligent automation changes associated with how you're producing your product or making changes associated with where you're sourcing your product. It's not about replacing humans, though. It's augmenting the intelligence across your business structure. I think the real challenge, though, is that how do you integrate it within your strategy? And it's not necessarily, hey, I'm going to be able to replace this position. That's not actually true. I would argue that if you have a CFO today, as an example, you're going to be able to utilize that CFO to be able to change the expectations of the role. That person still needs to evaluate the AI models to make sure that not all AI models are made the same, right? And especially if you're using a third-party tool that is using some AI modeling. Well, how is that AI that they're utilizing really effective associated with the inputs? And being able to look at the data and making sure that it makes sense. Because a lot of times when you get an initial AI model, you may be like, that's not logical. We know we have seasonality in X, Y, Z months, and this is just suggesting a straight line growth. AI is only as good as the inputs. And so it still requires somebody to actually kind of massage the data, review the data for accuracy, and really build that strategy on being able to communicate it down. It's data at the end of the day. It's not a leader. If you currently have a person that just crunches data and provides you a report, yes, it might be able to replace that individual in time. But if you truly have somebody that takes the data and actually influences the organization and gets them to complete certain tasks, in all these areas, marketing, HR, sales, finance, your IT departments, all that leadership is still critical to your organization, still critical to be able to achieve. So it doesn't technically replace people. It just makes you that much better versus your competition. Ultimately, the companies, though, that figure this out today, they'll be the ones leading tomorrow. So thank you once again for listening to Revenue Margin, brought to you by Rob Maletic. Please put a like at the bottom if you like this podcast, and love to hear back from you if you have any questions regarding this and how we could potentially help you implement similar types of AI strategies within your organization, utilizing what is available today in the marketplace. Hope to hear from you soon. Have a good day.